Hello, so this month's theme is cotton flowers. So I'm starting out by I already sketched out the flowers. I just looked up photos on Google and sort of did my own interpretation of it. I'm using a gray Tombow brush pen to outline it and then fill it in, and I'm using a Crayola Supertips in a brown color for the stem. I sort of wish I picked a different brown marker to use, because although I love how dark the Supertips brown is, the tip on those markers tend to dull while you're drawing with them, so it's really hard to get a fine point. You'll kind of see me struggling through it a bit, but I added I used the micron, I think 01 nib to sort of outline everything, and it looked a little bit better. So I'm using my grid spacing cheat sheet to redo the calendar. I had a 4x4 planned, but I decided on a smaller calendar since I'm going to add a border around the page. I typically do small calendars anyways. I like to have my cover page and calendar on the same page. I don't know, I just don't like to waste too many pages on those, and I like to use the calendar just to jot down important dates, notes, whatever I need, maybe appointments, and then obviously I will write down like the full note of what's going on that day in a weekly. So I'm using a Fabre castell white brush pen to do some highlighting, and I'm using my micron pen to do some shading. I'm using the smallest nib I have. I wish I added more shading. I'll probably do it off camera just to make it look a little bit more complete. And then I added February. So a tip I have in making straight lines without using a ruler, although my calendar isn't really straight, but I mean, it was my first time recording, so like we're gonna allow it. I rotate my journal in towards my body and I pull the pen towards me, and that helps me create a bit more of a straighter line. I'm also a lefty, so I feel like everything's a bit harder to do when you're a lefty, so I also use my right hand to kind of stabilize the notebook so it doesn't really move while I'm doing this, and that creates like fairly straight lines. Again, this isn't a great reference because I was very shaky today, but I typically can freehand straight lines fairly well. So I skipped a few pages so I'd be able to have them for my weeklies. I don't include like a bunch of trackers and stuff I'm not really going to use for the month. The typical spreads I like are a cover page, a calendar, my weeklies, and then either one page for some sort of tracker or expenses or something, and a memories page. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm sketching out my little cotton plants, and I actually struggled a lot on this page, so there's a lot of cutting and pasting and editing. I don't know what was going on. I was just feeling super rushed or something, and you'll see there you go. There's a jump because I needed to do it off camera and sort things out. I screwed up a bunch, but it's no big deal. That's what happens. It's a bullet journal. You're freehanding everything and you're doing everything yourself, so you're allowed to make mistakes, and I don't actually mind it too bad. The one thing that bothers me though is that the headers aren't aligned. That bothered me so much I almost ripped the whole page out, but I told myself to just chill and just, allow it. It is what it is. It doesn't have to be perfect. So the habits that I want to track this month is working out, water, just drinking enough water for the day, 15K plus of steps, and no spend other than obvious expenses, bills, groceries, that kind of stuff. You can't really help it, but just like takeout and supplies, try not to overspend on that. I am also making sure that I water my plants and change my turtles' water at least once a week. Yeah, once a week. So one thing I'm trying to do for the whole year is a tracker where I focus on one type of exercise for the month. So for January, I did how many squats I can do in a day. And since it's still fairly cold in New England to be outside, I figured I will do mountain climbers for February. So what I do is just add a tally of how many I do in a day. So I think like the first one says the first color is 50, and then the next is 75, 100, and 150. I don't do it all in one go. What I'll do is maybe wake up and do 25, and then later on in the day I might, do another 25. And if I do more than 150, I'll just write how many I did for that day's total in that square. So the last spread we have here is my weekly setup. Typically what I do before I set up my weekly is I reference my future log to see how busy or not busy the week is, and then that way I can judge how much planning space I do or don't want. Since this week wasn't too crazy, I figured I can do smaller sections for each week. I basically broke the page into thirds going vertical and then fourths going horizontal, and then from there I sort of blocked off certain sections for doodles and my calendar. I like to add a calendar. It's just a nice little reference point. I'll probably also maybe just squeeze in like a section so I can either put notes or like groceries down on that bottom right half. So I'm just adding in the days of the week, and then I will be adding in a lyric. I like to do lyrics in my bullet journal instead of like motivational quotes. That's just kind of like my vibe, I guess. So for this week I added Dream with Both Eyes Open, which is a song lyric from the band The Maids, song Tears Won't Cry. Here's when I realize I spelled February wrong. Whenever I'm writing really fast, I always spell things wrong, which is why I tell myself to slow down. It's not a big deal though. I just grabbed some paper from my Archer and Olive Neapolitan notepad and I just pasted over it, and it's good as new. So while I love the Archer and Olive Acrylograph pens. I think that's how you say it. They are a little finicky to work with, so you do have to shake it every time you use it and reactivate it. It's always good to have scrap paper around because I've had a few cases where it's kind of exploded in the cap, so it's good to have like napkins to clean that all off.